I also remember her whenever I unpack that ordinary Santa every December. Next December, I will be hoping that granddaughters number 4 and 5, both set to be born in the spring, might be able to wear that Christmas dress. In 1984, various musical talents got together to have a concert that they called Band-Aid. And they sang this song, "Do They Know It's Christmas?" It's Christmas time, there's no need to be afraid. At Christmas time, we let in light and we banish shade. And in our world of plenty, we can spread a smile of joy. Throw your arms around the world at Christmas time, but say a prayer. Pray for the other ones. At Christmas time, it's hard, but when you're having fun, there's a world outside your window. This from Linda. And this was recent. In the frenzy of getting a 2-year-old, Christmas gifts, and an anxiety-laden dog ready to leave our house for the next scheduled post-Christmas visit, our son accidentally locked us out of the house. We were at a doctor's appointment. I valiantly tried to pry open an unlocked window, but was unsuccessful, until one of my wonderful neighbors came along, managed to open the window, and shove herself in through it to our bedroom. She found her way through the house to unlock the door. This neighbor worked for a nonprofit in Nairobi, Kenya for many years, and she explained that she had been in the same position several times and always managed to find a way to get back into the house, especially once when she had a frying pan full of nuts cooking on the stove and her 6-month-old outside with her. I am grateful for friends who always manage to show up when you need them. They are a true gift from God. This is a song I don't really remember hearing, but I felt that it was appropriate for the piece that Janice shared with me. I'm not going to lie, and this was put out by the piano guys. I'm not going to lie, Christmas really hurts this time, because you're not here to celebrate with me. Tears fill my eyes, the memories flood my mind, as I place your ornament upon our tree. Although this year I have a broken heart, it gives me hope and joy as I remember where you are. You're with the Son of God. You're with the Prince of Peace. You're with the one who's celebrating, and that thought amazes me. Sometimes I still break down, grieving that we're apart, but the sweetest gift is knowing where you are. You're with the Son of God. Each year when I'm sitting with the choir in the balcony, I look down into the congregation and picture the place where my late husband John sat December 24th, 1999, in his wheelchair, accompanied by his son Jay. It's been 20 years. Both John and Jay have died. John was determined to be there that night. He died on January 13th in the year 2000. He knew it was coming soon, and he wanted to be at church on Christmas Eve, as he'd done often as a boy, and later all the years we were together from 1977 on. He asked Bob Lee to come visit him just a few days prior to that and to baptize him again, which Bob did. Then, during the hymns that Christmas Eve, John reached ahead and struggled to pull himself up by the pew in front. It was a very risky move and nearly impossible, but he did it. Jay reached out to assure his balance and safety. At the end of the service, Bob walked up the aisle, as he mostly did, and spoke about the meaning of the day, and noted the absence of some who were no longer with us, and the determined presence of one as he stood beside him in the aisle. Each year as I sit up there on the balcony, I look down on that spot, and I remember that Christmas Eve with John and Jay. And I know that now he is with Bob among the saints. Mary, did you know that your baby boy would one day walk on water? Mary, did you know that your baby boy would save our sons and daughters? Did you know that your baby boy has come to make you new? This child that you've delivered will soon deliver you. Mary, did you know that your baby boy will give sight to a blind man? Mary, did you know that your baby boy will calm a storm with his hand? Did you know that your baby boy has walked where angels trod? When you kiss your little baby, you kiss the face of God. Mary, did you know that your baby boy is Lord of all creation? Mary, did you know that your baby boy will one day rule the nation? Did you know that your baby boy is heaven's perfect lamb? That sleeping child you're holding is the great I am. Caroline shared, this year, after days of cooking, shopping, entertaining, and celebrating, I chose to spend Christmas Eve ushering at not one, but 2 First Church Christmas Eve services. My choice seemed a bit counterintuitive to my family. Why make another commitment during such a busy time? But for me, it was a choice that allowed me to slow down for the first time all season and just be present in the magic and wonder of the service and the celebration. It was so joyful to greet familiar and not so many familiar faces and literally share the light of the Christ child's birth with the congregation as we passed out candles and lit them aisle by aisle. The stillness of the dark church and the glow of the candles before we sang Silent Night moved me to tears, not once, but twice on Christmas Eve. Serving our community that night was a reminder to me and to my family that sharing the joy of Christmas isn't exclusive to those we know and love and live with day in, day out. It's also for the people that we may want to know better or may never see again. O holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope the weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees, hear the angels' voices. O night divine, O night when Christ was born. Anne shares, you may recall that Christmas Eve last week was a calm and pleasant night. Rather spontaneously, Doug and I decided it would be nice to walk to church. We were greeted by paper bag candles illuminating the walkway, the colored light of the sanctuary windows and other lights on the building, people coming and going. The church looked warm, welcoming, and bustling with activity, energy, and purpose. After saying our last farewells and Merry Christmases, following the late Christmas Eve service, Doug and I began to walk home, and the night was magical. It was more still than any other night of the year. No wind, no sirens, no shouting, no one rushing about. I don't even think a car passed by us. The city was quiet, but not asleep exactly. Rather, in my imagination, it seemed to be enjoying those few hours of deep quiet. Turning away from Pearl Street, the neighborhood felt even quieter and darker. There were dark houses, perhaps students' apartments or occupants away traveling, but most houses had Christmas or Hanukkah lights in windows and on porches or wreaths on doors. Through many windows, we could see lights and twinkles of decorated Christmas trees. In the stillness of that night, I thought again about the worship services we had just left. And I wondered about the many people all around the world who would hear the same words, sing many of the same songs, and light candles before this night became tomorrow. It is a special moment that I look forward to each year. Is there any other day each year when the whole world seems to pause and take a collective breath, where much of the noise of our busyness calms to quiet, and for a moment we perhaps glimpse another reality, one of hope and peace? As it has for years in this place on this special night, the candlelight last Tuesday seemed to seep and flow, growing from a single flame to gradually illuminating the darkened room and the people gathered here in a warm, flickering light. In my imagination, the light continues on in us, filling out the doors and windows on a mission to dispel the darkness where we find it. I'm going to end with lyrics written by John Lennon. So this is Christmas, and what have you done? Another year over, a new one begun. And so this is Christmas, I hope you have fun, the near and the dear one, the old and the young. A very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's hope it's a good one without any fear. And so this is Christmas for weak and for strong, for rich and poor. The world is so wrong. And so happy Christmas for black and for white, for yellow and red ones. Let's stop all the fight. A very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's hope it's a good one without any fear.